As of right now, in the state of Alabama, if a woman was to be the victim of a rape and then be pregnant, she would be forced to carry out the pregnancy. To me, this is a scary thought of a woman being forced to carry out a rape, especially if she's underage, possibly as young as 13, 14. And it also leads me to think, what are her options? I mean, she could go out of state to get an abortion, that's expensive, or illegal abortion. And that, as well, is a scary thought. Abortion has been a controversial issue ever since Roe v. Wade, which made abortion illegal, or abortion legal, sorry, excuse me. And the two groups can be broken down to pro-life and pro-choice. Pro-choice, their argument is rooted in mostly morals, as well as the fetus has a life, and therefore they have the right to life. Pro-choice is rooted in a woman's decision to make the choice. She's got the choice to do what she wants her own body, and is rooted in body autonomy. My position is with the latter, pro-choice. Doing this research, because I've always been interested in it because it's a controversial issue, and when it first was a thing, I was kind of like, wait a minute, where do I stand? Because I didn't know where I stood at the beginning. And doing more research made me realize that there's some different outlooks or positions that I didn't even know prior to. And so it made me more, grateful for that. I also found some research regarding ethics, some ethic professionals, as well as like health professionals. My thesis is that the government should not have any say in a woman's right to get an abortion, and it's the woman's choice, and they should provide safe options for a woman to get an abortion. The first reason is because it's important for equality. It's a woman's decision, and it is important for gender rights. The second is that victims of rape should not be required to carry out an abortion. The third is that morals are not a justification to make a decision for someone else. If you don't believe in something, doesn't mean that you should prevent someone else from doing something. And this transitions me into my first point, which is that it's important for gender equality. And what I didn't realize at first is that motherhood is a very big thing. And mothers, when you become a mother, you assume a lot of responsibility. You're supposed to take care of this being for an extended period of time, 18 years or even more, and all those social stereotypes that come with it, and that should be a woman's decision. That's a lot to put on a woman, and it should be her decision. And motherhood should be planned. If she's not ready for that, then she should have the option to not take that part in her life, to take that step in her life. And the other reason is it's just disrespectful to women. If you think about it, we make these decisions and we don't take into account if a rape victim has to carry out a pregnancy, the emotional trauma or the physical trauma that'll put on her. And women should not be required to serve others, meaning that just because people think that she should have a kid, she should have the decision to choose. And that leads me to victims of rape. Victims of rape should not be required to carry out an abortion if they don't want to. Reason for this is that, especially young, pregnancy has more complications and more side effects symptoms than abortion does. 11.3% of pregnant women experience hypertension, 13.2% experience a UTI, and 9.9% experience anemia. And this is just to name the big ones, the smaller ones, which we all know about: headaches, fatigue, mood swings, and so on. And the second point is that abortions, they have less complications than pregnancy. 2 to 4% of pregnancies, I don't know how to say this word, but it's what it is it's a bacterial infection that could be deadly to both the mother, and it could be long term. And 2 to 4% of pregnancies have this, whereas only 0.05% of abortions have complications that result in hospitalization. And so that's why rape victims should not have to be just because of the health concerns involved with that. And the final point, that the counter, is that pro-life, it's a human life. They should have the option to that they have the right to life as well as morals. You know, it's typically rooted in ethics and morals. And counter to this is that someone else's morals aren't necessarily more important than my own morals. And morals shouldn't be a justification to change the course of someone's life. Motherhood is a big step. It should be a planned step. And just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean that you get to decide for the rest of someone's life. And the reason for this is that a lot of pro-lifers believe that, in the exception of rape, that you don't need to carry on a pregnancy, which is saying that when a woman's bodily autonomy has been violated, she's been raped, only then is bodily autonomy more important than a human life. So it's kind of like, where do you stand? Because when you have these exemptions, you're saying, okay, life matters, but only sometimes, only most of the time. And these times, it doesn't matter as much. So, and I hope I made my position clear, that the government shouldn't have any say in this. This should be a women's decision. And if anything, the government should be providing resources, contraceptives, sex education to prevent these things in the first place. And when they do happen, women should have the option to get an abortion if they're not ready to take that step in their life. And someone's morals is not justification enough to change the course of someone's entire life.